when Ramachandra Puri was criticizing Mahaprabhu and the devotees are trying to tolerate for so long, finally, Swarup Damodar intervenes because he said their hearts couldn't take it anymore. And it's mentioned, there's a quote there from the scriptures that said, really in this world, you shouldn't praise or fault find. You shouldn't do either one of those things. But if you have to violate one of them, then you can break down and praise somebody. Now, Saraswati Thakur says in one place, if a sadhu becomes my flatterer, he becomes my enemy. And what he's alluding to is a verse from the Bhagavatam that says, sadhu, one definition of sadhu is one who cuts sharply with strong language. So, Vidura tells Dhritarashtra, and very strong, you're living like a kept dog in this house. And it strikes the heart of Dhritarashtra, and he gives up the world, and that type of thing is there. And there are, other examples. But it's a fine line, as you say, between at least we should say this, in our hearts, we should give some recognition. It may not always be appropriate to express that, but it should be recognized internally. And with regard to those three stages, what we've heard Srila Guru Maharaj say is that anyone who has any sort of appreciation connection with Krishna consciousness, we're mentally showing some respect, but we're only giving formal respect to those who have legitimate connections. So we're not showing formal respect to sahajiyas because we don't accept that they have a substantial connection. Saying, but if someone has a connection with a substantial Vaishnava, we're showing some formal respect to them. And of the third class, it's told, we offer ourselves to them in service. That's the appropriate response. Not merely to glorify, but to offer oneself to them in service. Srila Saraswati Thakur, at when he revived the Vishwa Vaishnav Raja Sabha once a year around the time of Gaur Purnima, they would call a meeting, and at that time, some praise was given to servitors and outstanding servitors. And Guru Maharaj said it was also mentioned if there was some area for improvement as well. So there will be a fine balance of acknowledging the genuine devotional tendencies of others and not, as you say, praising to the extreme so that it awakens pratishta within one. Because one meaning of pratishta is self-establishment. So we're told, pratishta is for Gurudev. We transfer whatever praise comes to us to prevent, if we try to digest it ourselves, we'll be unable to. So the Vaishnavas, and not just trying to save themselves, but in a genuine, heartfelt way, they realize if someone's seeing something beneficial in me, I must have gotten that in connection with Guru and Vaishnav. So really I'm giving the credit to Guru and Vaishnav. We know that parents, they encourage children. There's a particular stage where they're encouraging almost anything they do. The slightest thing is being met with overwhelming praise. Right? There's a point where that has to be drawn down and balanced and adjusted, till the praise will come when something substantial has been done. And I think you can find a similar parallel in Krishna consciousness. We may be excused for praising those who are newly connected with Krishna consciousness, because like a child taking baby steps, we want them to feel that they're in an environment of love, affection, and support. So we're giving encouragement. In time, it'll be, they will mature, and it will be more of a substantial thing. Guru Das, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Swami Maharaj, he was heading the Krishna Balaram project at one point, and he told me this story and I saw also with my own eyes. He'd come to Calcutta from Vrindavan, see Prabhupada, and then when he'd be going, Prabhupada would, oh, our Guru Das is leaving. There would be a big send-off. And then one time he was going, and he just went like, all right, gave his done, all right, I'm going to Vrindavan. And Prabhupada was like, all right. And he's like, Prabhupada, I'm going to Vrindavan. Huh? Yes, you may go. And he said, then he realized, I'm not going to get a big send-off every time. You know, it was time to like grow up a little bit. And sometimes people would call Gurudev and say, Maharaj, I need your mercy, give me your mercy. And then one day he said, I gave you mercy 3 days ago. What happened to that? You know, now they're going to call it once a week for mercy, or every 72 hours. He said, what happened to the mercy I just gave you 3 days ago? I already used that. I need more. Like all things, there's growth, gradation, infancy, childhood, teenage, etc. There, maturity.